Hey guys, Station X here, and today we are going to be doing another video game pickups. This is going to be video game pickups number 13. Can't believe we done 13 of these, but today we got a pretty good selection of games here. We got some PS5s, some Nintendo Switches, 3DS, and everything in between. This one's a bit of a variety for this episode, but without any further ado, let's just get right into it. I want to start with this pile because it's not like each system that's represented here doesn't have more than 1 to 3 games. So I'm going to just start with this one. And this is Sega Dreamcast Crazy Taxi. You can actually see how much I paid for this. I have the second one. I never owned the first one because I'm pretty sure it was in the Dreamcast collection on the 360, and but now I have the original. I don't have too many Dreamcast games, so I should definitely start fixing that. But you know, this is on the step there. It's a very classic game for the Dreamcast. And here we have some Series X / Xbox One games. Balan Wonder World, which is a game I got on PS5. Foreclosed, and The Council. 2 other games I got. Gotta say, for the Xbox One in particular, that collection has grown to an immense rate. You know, it's just, that was the one I've been working on for that generation in particular. Over PS4 and Xbox One, I was working on my Xbox One collection. Whereas the Series X, that generation, the PS5 and Series X, I have more PS5 games than Series X games. So I definitely switched a little bit to PlayStation in this generation. But you know, I'm trying to catch this one up a bit. I don't want this to fall too far behind. And I mean, I get my staples that I get every year, like Call of Duty and Assassin's Creed and like the WWE ones. Those are like the 3 I buy consistently for Xbox all the time. But I've been trying to kind of bolster that library up a bit with some good games here. And here for the PS4, something I showed in my community tab not too long ago, Godzilla for the PS4. This is a very rare and hard to find game, and I was able to get this at a game store for $30 because I had some trade-ins and coupons and things like that. And knowing how much this goes for, this was a pretty big find. And it's kind of funny because the game itself is not the greatest in the entire planet. I know there are some fans of this game, which I haven't personally tried it out myself, but I've heard, you know, obviously when it first came out, wasn't the best. But I'm just glad to have it because Godzilla is also a very interesting, you know, movie franchise. I've always liked it, and having the game for it is kind of awesome too, especially since I own quite a few other Godzilla games that are mostly tournament fighters with the different characters. So this one being a different type of Godzilla game is pretty interesting. Moving on to the PS3, we have Final Fantasy 13 and Star Ocean: The Last Hope International. Starting with this one, I know it's the greatest hits version, but this is basically, we're like very, very close to owning every Final Fantasy game on PlayStation systems. No, not every single Final Fantasy game came out on a PlayStation system. Specifically, the original Final Fantasy 3, the one that came out in Japan. For the most part, if you include the PlayStation 1 versions and all the other versions of Final Fantasy that have came out before, I think I'm only missing the 2 other sequels for these. Final Fantasy 14 I'm missing for the PS4, and I think that's it. No, Final Fantasy 11, which I do have here, but I don't have PlayStation versions of those, which I usually try to keep a series to a system, but this one I had on the 360 originally, and now I have it for PS3, which is awesome to have. And then, of course, this game looked really cool, and it's another game that I did not own, made by Square Enix, and it's a very interesting title. I just really like the way the cover looks, and just that nice purple right there is just so good. And here we got some Wii games. Now, typically I don't show sports games too much, but NBA Jam is always a fun time, and the Wii version is kind of cool having that. We have SNK Arcade Classics Volume 1. Now, never really played Neo Geo games before, so this is a nice treat to have. I never thought owning it on the Wii would be a thing because I just never heard of this game being on the Wii, but you know, here we are. I have it, and there it is. And of course, this one, Metroid Prime Trilogy, a classic, and also kind of hard to find. because it's a Wii game in a steelbook, which I never thought I would ever see. And here you got that nice title on the spine. Please, if you're making a steelbook, please put the title on the spine. Thank you. It's the biggest collecting pet peeve when companies don't put the title of the game on a spine. It's just very annoying. And here's the disc, and it's of course complete. I've also posted this on my community tab as well, so it's just checking that out, if you get the chance. But right here, having this mostly in good condition with some minor scratches and little dings here and there, but of course, I mean, I don't think you can get any beautiful than this. And here we got some Xbox 360 games. Of course, I mentioned Final Fantasy 11. This is my third Final Fantasy 11 game that I own, because there's the different expansions and stuff like that. Of course, this very gorgeous cover we have here. And Alan Wake. Now, I know they remastered this. I mean, hey, we got the original version of it, and it was an Xbox 360 exclusive. If you could imagine Xbox having exclusive games, Once upon a time, there was exclusives for Xbox, and this was a fantastic one. Now, moving on to the second pile, we're going to start with the 3DS. Here we have Metroid Samus Returns. So I've been very into collecting Metroid lately, so I've been getting down that list. Yokai Watch for the 3DS. Yeah, I just picked it up because it was there, and it looked kind of cool. Detective Pikachu, of course, because been on that Pokemon hunting spree, so we just got to have some more Pokemon in my life. And here we have not one but two Kirby games, Kirby Triple Deluxe and Kirby's Extra Epic Yarn. Of course, I wish I had the actual non-Nintendo Selects version of this, but hey, beggars can't be choosers, and I just liked having a version of it. At least it doesn't affect the spine too much just to have this medallion there. But hey, some awesome games for the 3DS, and awesome ones to add to the collection. Here we have the Switch, which of course, right off the bat, we got some Xenoblade games. Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, which this actually means something for this, because there has been a couple of versions of this. Of course, I had the Wii version and the 3DS version, but this is the best version of Xenoblade Chronicles 1 to play. And here we have the Xenoblade Chronicles 2, but this is like the expansion, not the original Xenoblade Chronicles 2. So if you haven't played Xenoblade Chronicles 2, it doesn't necessarily matter if you play this one first or the second one. I don't have the actual second one, but I would want to start with the second one before playing this. But I mean, this one just takes place before the second one, so it depends on you. But this was a kind of a hard game to find. It's not easy finding this game anywhere, and so I was very lucky to pick this up. But I gotta get now the original Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and get Xenoblade Chronicles 3 when I get the chance. And here we also have Cuphead. It's a very, very cool game. Never actually bought it because I just don't like buying digital games, and it being only digital doesn't stop me from buying a game, but I just never got around to buying it, and I just kind of avoid buying digital if I have to. But of course, my long wait finally paid off, and here we have a physical copy of it, and for Nintendo Switch. If you believe it or not, this actually was a Xbox exclusive when it first came out, but it just feels so much better on Switch. So I mean, this fits Nintendo's style to a T. It's a platformer game with a cutesy art style, and I mean, I just adore the way the game looks. And another fan favorite of mine, Tetris Effect, this one being Tetris Effect Connected, because originally this version of Tetris was a PlayStation exclusive due to the VR, because it was a VR game. Believe it or not, this Tetris was a VR game, and it was a very good and cool one. It was a very trippy experience, one that might cause some nausea, but this one is awesome. Now, I'm assuming it's just Tetris, but with the visual effects of a Tetris Effect, and of course, obviously, it's not going to be as cool because it's not in VR, but still, like the music and the background effects going on is just so awesome, and it gives Tetris just much more of a modern feel to it as opposed to just having the classic Tetris that we know. We have Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Rescue Team DX. This is I want to say a remake of the original Mystery Dungeon. Of course, you had, I forgot which one was which, but one was on the DS and this one I think was on the Game Boy Advance, which was very weird because, of course, as you know, Pokemon's known for having a dual release. like a gold and silver, diamond and pearl, etc., etc. But this one's interesting because of the fact that this one had a dual release, but between two different systems. It held true to the fact that the DS and the Game Boy Advance were both pillars of Nintendo's structure at the time, along with the GameCube, as opposed to the DS being just a replacement of the Game Boy. And that was one of their ways of letting people know that. But of course, as we know, the DS was the replacement. But these are, regardless, is a very good, awesome Pokemon game. And I mean, I adore the Mystery Dungeon games, and so having this adding to the collection is just also nice. And here we also have Hot Wheels Unleashed. I actually got this when this was on clearance, so this I got a lot cheaper than what it was originally priced at. But Hot Wheels Unleashed is a really cool racing game, and as a kid, always grew up with Hot Wheels and had a bunch of different ones as a kid growing up. And that was the one thing me and my dad actually shared a common interest with, because he had Hot Wheels and stuff when he was growing up. And so having that to bond over was just really cool. And having this as a game is very neat as well, because of the fact that I really do like racing games, and Mario Kart was one of my favorites. But I saw trailers for this and saw gameplay of this and thought, wow, this is a really cool game, and I had to pick it up. And now we get to the PS5s, starting with the World War I. I'm gonna butcher the name of it, but it's the Italian front. So, I mean, I have the other two. I had to get this one, and me being Italian, had to get this game here. Here we have Babylon's Fall. I thought this looked really interesting, and that's really the only reason why I bought it, because of the cover being cool. And so that's it, really. We got Deathloop as well. Very interesting game made by Bethesda, and while I haven't been the biggest fan of Bethesda in recent years, I mean, the one good thing they've been doing has been Doom, and so I did want to give Deathloop a try because of the fact that it had a really interesting concept. Although now it's going to be on the other systems instead of it being a PS5 exclusive, I had to get it on PS5 just to kind of get that PS5 collection going up a bit. And another really funny game, Goat Simulator 3. I actually had the original Goat Simulator on the Xbox One and thought this was a hoot and a half. And having the third one on PS5, I cannot wait to get into it because it's just so much fun. And it's just goats. It's anything but a simulator in my opinion, but it is a really funny game where it's basically just an open world, real life, kind of like GTA is an open world in a real life area, but you're playing as a goat and you're just doing all sorts of stupid stuff. Here we have Marvel's Avengers. I actually have the original one on the PS4. I bought it day one, and then I ended up getting the collector's edition of that, as you know, in a previous video, you know, from before. But now I got the PS5 version. Is this any better? Spoiler alert, is not. It's the same very bad game, but hey, now I own it for PS5. I only paid like $10 for this, so I figured why not. Here we have Sniper Elite 5. This one's a really cool series because I really enjoyed Sniper Elite V2, and so Sniper Elite 5 is just another one, like, just adding to the series basically, because I have 3, 4, the original one, V2, 3, and 4, and so getting this newest one. The coolest thing about these games is just the simple fact that when you eliminate a person, you have X-ray vision, and so whenever you take out an enemy, you can see the bullet going through that enemy and seeing what happens. And so it is a very unique concept, and so I really enjoy that. And here we have the final game on this list, another Square Enix game, Stranger of Paradise, Final Fantasy Origin. This one got very mixed reviews. I'm a Final Fantasy person, so I had to get it regardless of the fact of whether it did bad or not. It was going to end up in my collection regardless. But that's really all I gotta say about that. Now let's just get all the games together for one final shot at them. And that'll be it for today's video game pickups. Please let me know what you guys think in the comments below. What was your favorite game in this pile? I think we got some pretty good hitters here, and so I'm curious to think what you guys think in the comments below. And as always, if you enjoyed the video, please give a like and subscribe, because of course that always helps the channel out. I've been Station X, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day.